Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to brush and detangle your wigs. You guys all know that we get matting, we get tangles from wearing them all day long, and I've kind of figured out a couple different ways that work for me to really get the most tangles out with the least amount of damage possible. Before we go ahead and get into the close-up shots showing you guys how I do this, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the products I'm going to be using. And I'll probably mention other ones as well throughout this tutorial, but the few that I'm going to go ahead and use here today are going to be my Amica dry conditioner, which I absolutely love. I'm going to go ahead and be using this new brand that I have been trying out for the last week to kind of see if I liked, because someone did mention it to me, and it's called Insert Name Here, and this is a revival spray. Insert Name Here also has this wig detangling brush, and they do say online that it is for human and synthetic wigs, and I wanted to kind of give it a try because it looks completely different than any other wig brush I am used to using, and I kind of was actually under the impression that this could potentially cause more damage to synthetic wigs, so I wanted to give it a try, and I have been using it for the past couple days, and I will say that I'm actually like weirdly pleasantly surprised by it. I don't know how I feel yet, but I want to use it in this video really to show you guys what it does, and we can all kind of decide together maybe how we feel about this brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into this. We're gonna get nice and close, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do this. All right, so the only other thing that I forgot to mention to you guys was that I like to use either like a blanket or a towel as well. And I usually like to brush my wigs on a flat surface. So that is my first tip to you. And one of the first things that I kind of started changing about the way I brush my wigs, and I started to notice a ginormous difference, and that is not brushing my wigs either on a wig head or on myself, because what actually happens is when you're wearing a wig, let's just say you're wearing your wig, and I'm trying to get this in frame for you guys, and you're brushing down like this, and you're literally pulling the hair, you start to see those little ones, you'll see those little, like, they look like little snakes and they get all wiry. That's literally damaged hair that you're causing from the friction and the pulling. So if you lay it flat instead, on top of, like, usually I use a towel or something that can kind of absorb the shock, and you brush actually down and into the surface and down and in, you're actually putting all the pressure down into the towel and the table instead of the actual wig, and you'll cause less pulling and less damage to your wig. So first tip, something that changed my life when it comes to brushing out the tangles of my wigs, and it makes a huge difference. I did not brush her out. I usually always brush my wigs out before I hang them back up, but just for you guys, it hurt me very much to do this, but I did not brush her out. So I left all of the matting and everything that normally happens on my wigs, because this happens to me like everybody else. I have tons of issues right back here, especially because I like to wear necklaces, and I'm just not willing to give that up. The first one I'm gonna take is my dry conditioner spray here, and I'm just gonna spray this on my wig. If you have just very minimal tangles and things like that, just kind of spraying your wig down very lightly with this and then brushing it out usually will do the trick. Really, the other stuff I usually tend to do when I have a little bit more of an issue or have more of that kind of tangling going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and start brushing her. You always wanna start ends first and then work your way up, especially with curly wigs, because we really wanna try not to pull or mess up any of the that curl pattern of this wig. So we're gonna start down here at the ends, and we're gonna brush, and like I said, we're gonna be pushing down into the towel or blanket, and it's gonna take a little retraining of your brain to kind of push down first and then brush out, but it really does work really well. And I also usually always will hold my other hand up here to kind of just help keep the wig in place, because we don't have it on our head anymore, and we need to kind of keep it secure or it's gonna just fly off the table. And then I just kind of slowly go through with a wide tooth comb here, and I would brush it out. Flip it around, and I would do the same exact thing. And here you can kind of hold the cap if you want, instead of like your hand on the hair. And in this area, I'm just gonna kind of take this and very gently kind of try to loosen this up. And because this is a really bad knot, it's kind of a good thing and it's kind of a bad thing. Obviously you don't want these in your wig, but I can also show you what I would be using this right here for in this case. So this kind of is one of those scenarios where I would use something like this, because I really want to try to just not this. So using something like this kind of helps me get it untangled with the least amount of damage, and I'm really only gonna maybe cause some damage to the couple hairs that are really tied in there instead of all this extra hair, because I'm going in with like this crazy brush that I only need on like 4 hairs. I will also sometimes take this brush right here at the nape of my neck if I start to see some matting, and I'll just kind of brush in a little bit. It helps pull that kind of matting that's happening in the back that'll cause your wig to kind of poof up on the back of your head and in your neck to kind of come back down here, and then I can brush it out normally. All right, so now we've gotten pretty much everything out of this really that would be normal. And then what I would usually do is I would go in with my wig brush, which is normally the ones which I have no idea where it is because I packed it up. But instead, we're gonna sub that brush out for this brush because I want to try this brush out in my routine like I normally would be using this brush, not anything special. So I'm gonna go ahead and brush this wig out now with this brush. I'm gonna show you real quick kind of what she looks like front and back before I brush her. So this is what she looks like right now. She's still got a little poof to her, but she's definitely much less tangled and she's a little bit more tame. She's, you know, looking like her old self again. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take the brush and we're gonna see how she looks, and I'm gonna do some speeding up and we'll come back. All right, so I brushed through her and this is how she looks. So I will say, it literally makes you be able to really brush through this wig. Like I can run my hands through her. It feels really, really good. It does poof the wig up a little bit, and this is something I noticed with several different wigs that I've been trying this brush on. It gives it this little like poof about it, which is kind of what happens to your normal hair when you brush it. But my concern was, is this just a normal poof that is just kind of, because I'm making her fluff up, or am I causing actual like damage to the fibers, which is causing it to puff up? Because you can also, if you guys are wig wearers, you know, you start to see this little poof happening at the ends of your wigs when they start to kind of get that gnarly kind of tangled feeling. And I was worried that that's what was happening. So I did test this out on a wig for several days. And what I did see was that it really is just kind of fluffing the wig up. If you guys have watched my videos, I've used silicone wig sprays before. And I did a specific video on one. This is very, very similar to that. So I wanna make sure you understand that because it does have a very kind of like oil, I hate the word to use the word, but oily kind of feel. So a very little bit goes a long way. You wanna spray this from very far away. It will probably require you to wash your wig more often. You might have to wash it every 10 times you wear her or something. So it's not like a serious commitment, but it does kind of change the wash routine of your wigs. And with washing, obviously you wanna make sure you're doing that properly so you're not causing damage to your wigs during the washing process. I do have a video on how to like wash your wigs, and I have other things like that. You can check those out. I'm gonna spray this on here very sparingly, and then I'm just gonna take this brush that they have, get it in frame. I'm gonna take this brush they have and I'm gonna go through it one more time. Just while that product's in there, just to distribute it more than anything, because I did obviously spray it, and it is a fine mist. But there's still always gonna be like that initial shot that's gonna get a little bit more somewhere else. And I really just wanna make sure that I get this nice and like saturated in all the hair back on this back area. And this is usually where I'll like hit that one more time. You can see it just gives us this really nice, like pretty, like new, freshly washed and styled blowout kind of look. And it brings her back to life and she's nice and soft. All right, so once I've done all this to her, I would usually go ahead and throw her back on my wig wall, but this is actually our last video in our house. So we're gonna be taking all of these wigs down and packing them up and making our way to California. And our next video will be in our new home, and hopefully we will be announcing our 5,000 subscriber giveaway to you guys, because we are so close to 5,000 subscribers. Make sure if you are new here, you go ahead and hit that bell to get notifications on all the videos we do in the future. Make sure you guys subscribe, and also give me a like on this video, guys. I'd really appreciate it. I cannot wait to see what happens for the next year. I'm so excited. And also make sure you guys are checking in on my YouTube, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, on my social media platforms. And thank you guys so much for all the support. We would not be making this move if it wasn't for all of you guys and the community that I've found with Wigs. And I just want to say thank you, and I cannot wait for what is in store. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in California.